Hello, I'm Debs. This is Debs Made This. Welcome. This is SewFrugal 23. Hello, this is day 15. I am going to record the rules and regs and stick them at the end because if you haven't found it out by now, then you haven't been paying attention. Today we are doing swim. And I know there is snow outside that window there, so apologies if the light's not very good today. But you know, that's okay. We can look forward to sunny climes. I quite often swim when it is slightly warmer than this, not very often when it's quite as cold. I love sewing swimwear and I thought I would make an attempt to try and find some ways that we can make free swimwear patterns. So my plan is to show you the patterns, then I'm going to show you my fabrics from my stash that are kind of singing to me about these. I hope that's okay. I'll try and timestamp things in chapters down below so that you can skip to what you want to see. So I will preface this by saying that quite a lot of the patterns when I was looking are of very limited sizing. And I'm sorry about that. So I have tried not to include those. Where I'm going to mention them, I will try and give you an alternative. The first is our superhero of SewFrugal 23, which is mood fabrics. Mostly superheroes because they do from the 0 to 30 and often the hip, it goes up to like above a 60-inch size, which is what we're aiming for. Now they have several swimwear patterns, so just go and have a look and see what floats your boat. I have chosen 3 to share with you today, just because they've all got a different kind of vibe associated with them, so I thought you might feel a bit inspired. So the first one is the Cordia swimsuit. Now I'll put that, so this has got a kind of like vintage retro kind of vibe to it. It's 2-piece but high-waisted bottoms and cups in the top, and the pattern has you lining it with power net and an alternate colour for the inside of the strap. The second pattern on Mood Society is a much more straightforward pattern called the Marlowe. Sorry, looking down. And this is much more like a kind of scoop front, scoop back, plain straps. So if you're less kind of confident when it comes to sewing swimwear, but you've sewn, I don't know, a vest top or something like that, then this shouldn't be a problem for you at all. And I can kind of see this one in kind of one of my more interesting fabrics. I think when there's lots of seam lines in things, sometimes they'll get a bit lost if you're using a complex fabric, or quite a lot of them have got kind of almost like the equivalent of stripes on them, and so that gets more tricky, doesn't it? And my third option is much more of a kind of universal pattern, which is a bay. So the bay is a crop top and kind of boy short style bottom, so, or like cycling shorts, or you know, whatever that is. But what I did notice, I'll put that picture here, what I did notice about this is it does have a fairly narrow waistband. It's a bit unusual, and my inkling would be, if I went for that one, would be to make a wider waistband, just because I think it would be a more comfortable style to wear. The thing that they have on Mood Patterns is this beauty. So this is called the Almond Bodysuit. Now, having had a look at this last year or the year before, the instructions for how to make that V neckline are not the best, I think. They have you kind of turn it under and stitch it, and I'm not sure that will play the game, but if I try it, I'll be back here to report back, and so I'll let you know. But it's just such an interesting shape. But this is just to highlight that sometimes things like bodysuits, leotards, things like that will all work as swimwear. You've just kind of got to use your imagination a little bit, but so don't be limited by searching for swimsuits. Right, the next thing that I think that you can do quite easily is to hack things, other garments, into swimwear. So, for example, I have made the Lego tank by Itch to Stitch, which I know other people have mentioned several times. It's a really good pattern. It is slightly oversized for me. And if you are using it to make activewear or swimwear, you will need to size down. So just kind of be aware of that. But it's just a very nice fitting banded vest top, which you can obviously have at whatever life. You want it more like a tankini, you can leave it longer and just hem it, or you can make it kind of more cropped and put a band around the bottom. I do have a second option for the tank, which is one that I haven't made before, which I'm quite tempted to make just to kind of have a see of the new pattern company. So this is by Paradise Patterns, who have been about recently with a new pair of trousers, which look very cool. But this is called the Blommer tank, and this is free by signing up for her newsletter. She was trained in Sweden but lives in Hawaii, I think. And this Blommer tank goes up to a 60-inch bust and has B cup and D cup options. So again, that seems like a really good idea. And I think that would make a really nice swimwear top. The one that I've used before, and I have desperately been digging around in my drawers trying to find it to show you, and I can't find it, is the Noel bralette. So this is a Madeline Intimates pattern as well. And I made it in a lycra fabric, and I wear that as a yoga workout top. So that could definitely work as a swimwear top, and it's got a really nice shape to it. I should put a picture. Not very size inclusive though. I think that maybe 38-inch bra band size, I think, is her large. And when you make your tanks, I would pair it either with a pants pattern or a legging pattern. So pants wise, whatever your preferred style, there is nearly a pant for. One that I've made before is called the Noel panties. Now these are by Madeline Intimates, 46-inch hips, which is obviously not a great size range. I think you could grade them up. I think you could kind of have a play, and patently you're going to need to play a bit with a toile because of the different stretch that you're going to get from swimwear fabrics. Other pants patterns like the Acacia, which is kind of a lower rise, Sozo blog pants pattern, are the way forward. Now I know that Sam from Frugalissima did a free underwear vlog, so if I can find that, I'll link that down below as well. But it's just to kind of say, any kind of pants that you have that's a free pants pattern that you like the shape of, there is nothing to stop you using that for swimwear. Now, depending on the colour, you might want to line it with a nude swimwear lining or self-line it. But sometimes, especially if I'm using something a bit thicker, I don't bother. I just do, especially if it's got a band around the top of it, I do a band around the top and I don't bother to line it. You obviously need to do a bit of a test to see whether you can see anything through that fabric when it's wet that you don't want people to be able to see. And if that's the case, then put in the lining. But you can use kind of lightweight nylon, polyester type stuff. So sometimes the things that people de-stash that they don't like very much, they work really well for swimwear lining. So that's my tip of the day. And from a boy shorts or a longer short, depending on what you wanted the style to be, I found another new pattern. So these are called the Absolute Best Basic, something like that. Leggings that are by DIBY, Do It Better Yourself patterns. So this is a free pattern. It comes with 2 different waistband options, a higher one and a lower one, and you can have different lengths. So you could have like a really cropped short, you could have a longer short, or you could have leggings length if you want leggings length. I know especially people who swim outside in winter, we do tend to wear kind of more coverage things, especially when it's very cold like it is at the moment. The instructions for this look really good. And again, it wasn't a pattern that I'd come across before, and the sizing is really inclusive. Third option, so we've had proper swimwear patterns, adjusting other patterns to become swimwear patterns. And then the third option is drafting one yourself. So not for the faint-hearted, I think it's probably fair to say. I found a couple of options for this. There's a company called Kitschikoo Patterns. The lady there has done a kind of whole series of how to draft and cut a swimming costume, and I'll put a picture of that swimming costume here. It's not quite to my taste, but I thought that having found it, and actually it's quite kind of comprehensive, I thought that that's worth linking. The other one that I've seen is by somebody called Tanya at Design Diary. So a series of pattern designing videos on her YouTube channel. So she's got like skirts and skirt blocks and dress blocks and da-da-da-da-da. So she has a swimwear block, and then she shows you how then to make a cupped swimwear pattern from this. Now, I've had a look at that part, and that bit looks fairly complicated. But I think you could definitely do the drafting your block to start with, and just start with that. Start with like a simple straight straps, round front, round back swimwear pattern, and then experiment with some colour blocking, some extra style lines in that, and find a block that fits you really well to use for kind of experimenting a bit more. I didn't want to say that the one with the cups in looked like it was easy, because it doesn't look like it's easy. That looks fairly complicated. So that's my pattern ideas. Now I'm going to show you what I have fabric-wise. Now, fortunately, I have some swimsuit fabric in my stash. A lot of swimsuit fabric in my stash. So this is my first look at this. How pretty is this? This is a Liberty swimwear, and I think this would look really nice in something with a little bit of detail in it. I am not going to go in first time making any of these patterns and use this, obviously, but I just thought it was really pretty. Now, the other thing that I found when I was doing my little tweak was I've previously made the Do It Better Yourself hoodie, oversized hoodie, is it called? Which is also a free pattern, and I made it at Christmas for one of my children. I use a changing robe when I'm changing, and so I thought I would see if I'd got fabric to do that with. And if that's not your jam and you want something a little bit more elegant, I thought a robe would be really nice as well. So I found from Peppermint Patterns the Common Stitch robe. I have previously used the Quince robe by Seamwork, which used to be free, but it doesn't seem to be free anymore. So I think this is a good alternative. I haven't made this, but Common Stitch make really nice patterns, so I'm sure that that's really good as well. So I thought, I've got swimwear, and then I'm going to do like a lightweight over the top and a kind of heavier toweling one. So I shall show you that. So my go withs are these. So this is silk linen blend fabric, which I have previously made a pair of trousers out of, and I think that would make a really nice one of those Common Stitch tops, and the colour is a good match in there. This is the other thing. So I've used these before to make swim robes. So these are hammam blankets that come from Turkey. I bought 5 in total. But I've got this, look at what that pretty pink colour, and that's really nice. So this is a good way. This works really well. It's cotton, so there's no microfibers going into the washing, and you can make use or not make use of the little tassels depending on how you're feeling. I think I did on one of mine, and I didn't on the one for my daughter because she wasn't very keen on that as a thing. But they were made about 4 years ago, I think, and are still going strong, so I don't think there's a problem with using this fabric. I did try and buy more hammam towels recently to do something else with, and what came was very thin, like almost see-through. So you do have to be a little bit careful with what you're buying. Option 2 is this jadey emerald coloured lycra, which is a dancewear lycra. But because I swim outside, that's okay, because it doesn't have to be chlorine resistant. This is often something that I use for my toile. It has one shiny side and one less shiny side, and I tend to use the less shiny side. But I had a couple of options in my stash that I thought would work for that robe. And they are, number 1, although the green is perhaps not quite the right green, but it is very lovely. So there's that. So that is Liberty Tana Lawn, which has been in my stash for quite a long time, at least 4 years, maybe longer. And I kind of think it's flown under the radar very slightly, but I think that needs to be made up into something. So if not this, then something else. And my other option is much newer. I think this is only a year or so old, and this is called Dip in the Lake. Now, let me see if I can get you the right way up. There we go. So this is a Lady McElroy fabric, which has got ladies in swimming costumes dipping in a lake in this lovely background of greens and blues and blacks. But I thought that was beautiful. And again, I thought that that might look quite nice over the top. Again, not quite the right colour wise to my eye, but not far off. Now, my next combo is this beautiful coloured Italian matte lycra that came from Fabworks Mill. And the thing that waved at me from my stash is, again, another piece of Liberty Tana Lawn. These are going to get sewn this year. It's going to happen. I think that would make a very lovely robe that, you know, you could wear with everything, couldn't you? It's a nice colour. And this is my final combo. This is nylon that came from eBay, which is not the best swimwear fabric, but actually the colour is really nice. I have a coordinating teal coloured hammam towel throw over in that, and also this. So this was my birthday fabric in 2018, I want to say. It might even have been before that. and is a Nanny Eero cotton sateen. It is very beautiful. And my thought was, if I use that to make that common stitch robe, I can wear it all the time, can't I? As opposed to currently where it's sat in a cupboard and not being used at all. So that's me. I think I have given you a plethora of options. I hope that you feel inspired to make some swimwear. And if not inspired to make some, inspired to tell me which one you think that I should make and which combination of patterns and fabrics you think would work well. I shall see you back at the end of the month and we will see how I've got on. So I am wearing 3 patterns. I'm wearing a Vera top, which is a forget-me-not pattern, I think. And I've got peppermint wide leg pants on. Nearly always have peppermint wide leg pants on at some point in a week. The rules are simple. Free pattern, free to everyone. Fabric from your stash, no extras. Sew it in March. Post it on the 31st of March. Tag Ruan and Sam. Ruan at the Yorkshire Sew Girl and Sam Frugalisma. And go and have a look at the other blog. So the other person with me today is somebody called So Small that I haven't, is new to me vlogger, so I'll go and have a look. Yesterday was So Amelia and Lost My Thread, and tomorrow my social thread and my superpower. So there have been at least one vlogger every day and often 2. So go and have a quick mooch round the hashtag and see if you can find something to get your creative juices flowing and get your free patterns made up. So that's me. I hope this has been helpful to you. Please like and subscribe and do all that good stuff if it has. And don't forget to leave me a comment down below about what you think I should get up to. I hope wherever you are in the world that you are finding time to rest and replenish and that you are getting some time to make if that's something that brings you joy. Bye for now.